This could have gone very wrong. AirPods Pro 2, AirPods Pro 3. I've taken my time with this review, and the reason for that is because I think it's more important for me to spend 2 or 3 weeks with these than give you a first impressions, which doesn't hold much weight when you haven't had long enough to really get your teeth into what is a fairly big upgrade, to be honest, in terms of what Apple is promising. Now, I've been using AirPods Pro for years, so I'm very well versed in how fantastic they are. They're still one of the remaining Apple products that has that magic, they just work thing. It's got that Apple magic, which you don't always get on certain Apple products these days. Noise cancelling on the AirPods Pro 2 is just about as good as over-ear headphones. It's just insanely good. So to hear that it's better, apparently, on here, and to hear that they've changed the fit, and to hear that the audio has changed as well, is both exciting and incredibly nerve-wracking, because what if they've ruined it? What if they've ruined all those things? So in this video, having used these now for I think about 3 weeks, I'm going to answer the questions. Are they better than AirPods Pro 2? Should you upgrade from the AirPods Pro 2? Should you upgrade from the AirPods Pro first generation? And has Apple made anything worse by mistake? Let's get into it. Let's start with the specs and the stuff that Apple has changed between the AirPods Pro 2 and 3, and also the stuff they've kept the same, which is very interesting. That is where we'll begin. They both have the H2 chip, which means they have conversation awareness, adaptive EQ, personalized spatial audio, that thing where you can nod to say yes to notifications and shake your head to say no to notifications, which is still a very weird thing to do in public, but it does work and it's quite useful sometimes. They both have the hearing test and hearing aid functionality, which is fantastic. And they both have this new live translation thing, which Apple made a massive deal about during the September event. If you weren't aware, this means you can put your AirPods in your ears, and if you're speaking to someone who speaks in a different language, you hear what they're saying in your native language in your AirPods. Very clever. It works. I've tried it in a very rudimentary fashion by watching a French YouTube video, and I could hear what that person was saying in English on my AirPods. Brilliant. However, I think the role the iPhone plays in this is quite significant, and more so than these, really, because when you instigate the live translation thing, and the way that you do that is by squeezing both of the earbud stems at the same time, the live translation app fires up on this. You basically choose the input language and the output language, and away it goes. But this is doing all of the work, I think. Well, it's doing most of the work to the point where the AirPods Pro are basically acting as the mic and the receptacle for the translation, which is fine, absolutely fine, but it does work on the previous generation as well. And yeah, we shouldn't overlook the role this plays in live translation. In terms of the stuff that has changed, the case is different, but only marginally. So the AirPods Pro 3 case is slightly bigger. You can't see the little LED light there for charging. It is there, but you can see it on the AirPods Pro 2 when it's off. That's an interesting little change. It does have also an updated ultra-wideband chip. I don't know if that makes any difference. It might be a little bit better for Find My and that sort of stuff. However, even though this is slightly bigger, the overall battery life on the AirPods Pro 3 is less than these. So with the case, you get 24 hours on the AirPods Pro 3, but you get 30 hours on the AirPods Pro 2, which is really weird. However, I should note that one of the big changes is the fact that the buds themselves have 2 hours extra battery life. So you get 6 on the AirPods Pro 2, but you get 8 hours on the AirPods Pro 3. So that's nice. I don't get the case thing at all, but there you go. They have IP57 water resistance. These had IP54, and the ear tips are different on the AirPods Pro 3. You wouldn't know unless you were told, really, because they feel pretty much identical. They're a little bit stiffer on the new ones, but basically this is a combination of silicone and foam. It's not the sort of thing that you have to squeeze like you do on certain other earbuds and then let it expand in your ear to fill the canal. That's not how it works. It's just a different internal material. Has that had an impact on the fit? I'll come on to that in a second. The active noise cancelling is apparently 4 times better on the AirPods Pro 3 versus the first generation. The AirPods Pro 2 were 2 times better than the first generation, so that's quite a big difference. The AirPods Pro 3 also have a heart rate sensor in each of the earbuds. I've not tried this, but it basically means that you can take your earbuds out with your iPhone and without an Apple Watch and still get the heart rate tracking. Nice. And the audio has been changed as well. It's been tweaked. I think it's the same drivers, but they've added bigger bass ports, I think, and tweaked the algorithms and all that stuff just to give you apparently more bass, a wider soundstage, and better mids. But just basically a better sound overall, which I'll come on to in a moment. In terms of the pricing, 219 quid in the UK, $249 in the US. But what you want to know is, firstly, the fit and comfort. Just quickly, adding a case to your AirPods Pro case might not seem like the obvious thing to do. I've never done it before, but for the last 3 weeks, I've been using ESR's magnetic cases, and they're amazing. Let's start with the Cyber Flick Lock case. This thing is all about ultimate drop protection. It locks your AirPods shut with a combo of strong magnets and a physical flick lock latch, which actually clicks in place. I did a couple of drop tests with this, and you know that if you drop your AirPods normally, they fly out and they go into the road or they go into a different continent. That doesn't happen with this case. They stay rigidly in the case, and they've got reinforced corners for extra impact protection. Then we have the Orbit hybrid case, which takes a different approach. There's no latch, just a very strong magnet, which is much stronger than the regular AirPods Pro case magnet. In fact, it has 1100 grams of hold strength. It still closes super securely, and it's got a shock absorbing core to give you solid protection with a more minimalist look. Both cases support MagSafe charging with stronger magnets than the original AirPods case, so I can drop them onto any charger, my Apple Watch dock, or even a MagSafe battery pack. But this is what I love about these cases. They open very easily with one hand. They have cutouts for the speaker and the LED light, and they come in a range of colours to give your AirPods some personality, finally. Both of these cases are fantastic options, they're super affordable, and I'll drop a link to both of them down below. Okay, fit and comfort. The AirPods Pro 2 have long been one of the most comfortable pair of earbuds I've ever placed in my ears. I can shake my head, I can headbang, I can get them wet, I can run, I can do anything, and they do not fall out of my ears. They're fantastic. I can't wear the regular AirPods because my left ear is weird. It just doesn't accept them. It always falls out, basically. So the AirPods Pro have always been perfect for me. They look fairly similar. They're slightly bigger. In fact, when you look at them, they are considerably different in terms of the design. My concern with that is that although that might work for other people, they might ruin the fit for me and other people who have always enjoyed the AirPods Pro fit. So the big question is, have they ruined it? No, they haven't. In fact, I think it's better. They fit very, very snugly still. They never fall out. They just feel even more secure, even more comfortable, and you completely forget you're wearing them. I think it's mainly down to that silicone foam ear tip thing, but whatever it is, they fit perfectly. The only thing I have noticed that I don't get on the AirPods Pro 2 is the occasional clicking noise. So when I'm running and I've got a slightly wet ear, you can just occasionally feel them or hear them clicking. It happens quite rarely, to be fair. The Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra Gen 2 and the first gen actually have that problem all the time, which makes them almost unusable in terms of running. These aren't like that, but it does happen. I'd say 5% of the time I can hear a little click and then it goes. So it's worth mentioning, but it's not a big deal. They are more comfortable, and they're still the most comfortable earbuds on the market. And they still have the best touch controls because you squeeze the stems, you never accidentally press them. Apple has nailed that, and they haven't changed it. Happy days. Okay, the audio. There have been lots of concerns about this because Apple said more bass, and people thought, oh no, that's going to mean back to the days of bass-heavy Beats earbuds and Beats headphones and that kind of thing. I don't think that's the case. I think Apple has delivered on their promise because they said better bass, a wider sound stage, just a richer sound overall. And if you A/B the AirPods Pro 2 and the AirPods Pro 3, that's what you get with the latter. They sound richer, fuller, there's more bass. These sound tinny by comparison. They just sound a bit thin and a bit unimpressive and actually a little bit tiring. These just sound better. It's not a revolution, it's an evolution of the sound, which is what you kind of get with these updates. I've got no problem with the AirPods Pro 3 sound. I think they sound fantastic. They're not as good as, let's say, Bose's Quiet Comfort Ultras. They're not as good as the Melomania, I think they're called, from Cambridge Audio. They're nowhere near as good as what Bowers & Wilkins does with their earbuds, but they do a really good job. And when you combine that with what I'm about to talk about, it's absolutely fine. Oh, and by the way, they have the best spatial audio on the market, and also they have Dolby Atmos support, which is kind of the same thing. They do a really good job. Don't worry about the sound on these. Active noise cancelling. Can the AirPods Pro 3 be better than the AirPods Pro 2? Yes, let's cut to the chase. These are now, I think, as good as the best over-ear noise cancelling headphones on the market. So the XM6 from Sony, I think the AirPods Pro 3 are just as good at active noise cancelling. Hit me in the comments, go for it. They are just so good. Now, in terms of the difference between the AirPods Pro 2 and the AirPods Pro 3 for noise cancelling, it's, again, a bit like the audio, it's more of an evolution than a revolution. It's there, but you have to A/B test the two to work that out. And these are still so good. But these are just a bit better. And it does finally take them into the realm of matching like for like with over-ear headphones. I don't know how Apple does this because no one else has done it really, but they're brilliant. And they have the best transparency mode on the market as well. That's when you let the outside world in so you can hear your surroundings and also hear your own voice on telephone calls. It's like you don't have anything in your ears. Again, I don't know how Apple does this and how no other brand can do it, but they've got the monopoly on this. It's just incredible, and it's better just than the AirPods Pro 2 transparency. There's a definite improvement on these. Amazing. However, what are they like for telephone calls? Well, let's head outside and find out. Okay, this is AirPods Pro 2. I'm walking down a fairly busy road, some traffic coming past, wind hitting the earbuds, which has always been an issue for me with AirPods Pro 2 in terms of calling quality. It always seems to mess up the voice capture, basically. So we'll see how this fares against the new ones. More cars coming past now. Let's let that happen and see how the AirPods Pro 2 deals with it and switch to the new ones. And this is AirPods Pro 3. Again, a fair bit of traffic coming past, a little bit of wind hitting the earbuds. Not too much, to be fair, a bit less than last time. The transparency mode, as mentioned before, here comes the wind. The transparency mode, as mentioned before, is brilliant on both of these. It is definitely a little bit clearer on AirPods Pro 3. This isn't a really scientific test, and it's not particularly rigorous, really, or particularly difficult, I don't think. But it just gives a really good indication as to what these are like. Get involved in the comments, and now back to me in the studio. It's conclusion time, and the AirPods Pro 3 are a triumph. It's as simple as that. The big question is, should you go from the AirPods Pro 2 to the AirPods Pro 3? No. If you're happy with these, stick with them. If, however, they're on the way out, so if the battery's going, for instance, yes, make that change. You will be impressed by what Apple has done. If you have the first generation AirPods Pro, get these. Honestly, you'll be amazed. The audio, the ANC, the transparency mode, all of the smart features that you get, it's a massive upgrade. Now guys, it's over to you. Get involved down below. Let me know if you've bought the AirPods Pro 3, if you didn't, and the reasons for doing that. Start chatting, I'll get involved as well. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, you know what to do.